So I think Stefan,
are either of us going to say it?
I think you need to start this podcast with an admission.
What's that?
Your admission. Come on, think
My
back.
admission.
Yeah.
I'm just going to whisper it. I'm starting to believe.
Uh-oh. That's it. That coupled with Everton sacking Lampard today means we're going to lose the next game now. Thank you. You absolute idiot.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I've just left the same ticker going across the bottom of the screen that I had on the last time. Still a long way to go. I think that's my mantra now.
Way to go. Well, mine is enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride.
Yeah, but I didn't enjoy yesterday, really.
You know what, though? I was thinking at the game, I've not seen you enjoy an end to a game as much as that.
That's all. It's the only thing I enjoy about a United game is if we've won it, it's that like the ball hitting the back of the net at Cardiff from Vieira's penalty. You know, that's it. Because I have suffered so much at the hands of that team and that club. Like the list is almost endless. Like there's games that were in isolation would have been terrible, and I can't even remember them because they fall so far. Like the FA Cup semi-final when he rested Bergkamp and at Villa Park, we lost to them. Losing an FA Cup semi-final to United. That's like that registers up. But in that era, even that game is way down the list to the extent that I don't really recall much about it. I remember where I was sitting, and I'm like, so.
But yesterday, I think it was more like, don't get me wrong, you know, when a goal goes in, you celebrate, you know, like the best of them. But there was something about when that VAR decision went out.
Oh, that was it. That was it. Because I was convinced
there was a certain unhinged quality which I'm normally the one exhibiting, which I saw in you because it was just kind of, you were so convinced that it was offside.
Yeah. Well, they went up straight away in the way they placed the ball down. They were so confident, everything about them.
But absolute nonsense. And watching it back, have you watched it back?
I have, yes.
Here's the question: how many times have you watched the highlights?
Well, no, I watched the entire second half when I got home because I missed this game. Look, we knew we were the better team. We said that. We said half time it was about 50-50, but we knew we were the better team. But I didn't realise how much we battered them.
We were on it.
Like, I mean, that was as good a second half performance as and that no panic. The same thing. It was like, it was relentless. The amount of people I've heard say that it was inevitable, the goal was inevitable. No, it didn't feel like that at the time. Inevitable. No, not at all. I did say to you when Saka hit the post, I said, no, too early to score the winner. Too early to score the winner. When Nketiah missed the chance at like 84, 85.
A save,
And I thought, oh no, that would have been okay. That would have been an okay time to score the winner. But the later the better.
90 minutes.
No, the later the better. Well, what was funny about that is nobody had a clue when the game was going to end because we didn't see the board go up.
No one did.
And then VAR. No, just a point on that. I actually thought the referee handled the game pretty well, considering he is from Manchester. There were a couple of penalty shots in the first half, neither of which in replay were penalties. The Rashford one down the other end, I mean, it was outside the box, I think, but there was no contact whatsoever, so he got that absolutely right. I don't think there was any. Maybe he could have booked Shaw before he did book Shaw. The Ben White yellow card was a yellow.
At the game, the not booking Shaw thing, you know, felt like an injustice because it felt like Shaw was getting away with a lot. But again, looking back, I think he was trying to let a lot go because it wasn't an edgy game, you know. It wasn't a cynical. It wasn't a nasty game.
No, it wasn't
competitive, really
intense,
competitive, intense, yeah, exactly. So he was trying to let stuff go. So yeah, I mean, overall.
But the De Gea, the pathetic, and I'm really glad that Sky cameras dwelled on that a little bit because it was pathetic.
That's awful.
I mean, again, like, but anyway, the referee walked up to him and said, "Get up."
Mm.
But then he only added on 3 minutes, and they were time wasting a lot. And I was glad once we scored the goal, it was only 3 minutes of added time for sure. Mind you, I didn't know it. I was surprised when he blew the whistle because I thought that was a bit early. I'm like, excellent. Right, go home. Fantastic.
What a win.
Yeah, people are commenting on the noise in the ground and saying, one guy I follow, Darren Arsenal, on Twitter, and he's been going for decades, and he said he cannot remember a noise like that game from 10 minutes before to 10 minutes after. He said like 110 minutes of just like I got a little bit peeved at the clappers on the seats.
No one used them.
No, they didn't. We don't need them.
We don't need them.
It's like someone said, so one of the guys around us said that's a very Leicester City thing.
It is very Leicester.
And
but it was also a very cynical promotional thing.
I didn't like that at all. Yeah, like
I have got a couple. I've got one for my nephew, but who cares?
No, we don't.
Like making so much noise.
Yeah, I mean, I actually was more subdued during that game than I have been at any game this season because it's Man United and because
you are like that every season when we play Man United.
Yeah, I can't. I hate it.
You are rubbish.
Yeah,
when we play Man United. You're going to be so laid back when we play Brentford at our next home game, and it probably won't go well.
It'd be 0-0, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You'll be like, why aren't you like this now? Now's the time we need it.
Well, our next game is
Man City in the Cup.
No, it's not. I see Spurs are still winning 1-0. Well, it is on BBC.
They're winning. As soon as Fulham didn't get a goal, you just knew.
Well, I don't mind Spurs winning that game. And isn't it nice to not care whether Spurs win a game or not? Like, because it has no impact on Arsenal's position in the table. But actually, their next game after that is home to Man City. So I don't mind them getting on a bit of a run ahead of that game because we need them to, or we could do with them taking points off City.
I'm in that place now. The game they played against Man City last week, I was happy either way.
No.
And to be honest, the way it played out, I was really quite happy because it showed the flaws in both teams. Whereas now,
yeah, but City might look back on that second half as the half that started their 15-game winning streak.
Well, yeah, that's what worries me because again, they dealt with Wolves fairly.
I do really enjoy all these pundits, Gary Neville at front and centre, who no, Arsenal not going to win. I don't mind this actually. Arsenal not going to win the league. City, because they've done it, they know how to do it, and they've got to play them twice. Yeah, but City have got to play us twice.
Yeah.
So, that could be a 14-point lead gap. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like the way we dealt with the Spurs and the United game. And don't make no mistake, United were the best side we've seen at the Emirates this season, and Rashford's the best opposition player we've seen at the Emirates this season.
Yeah,
I was, we were there. The Rashford goal, I turned around to you and I said, "Well, that was ridiculous." And you can't. It's like that was okay. Partey got kind of intercepted pass, but if that pass had got through.
We were away.
Yeah, absolutely. So fine. But that goal was brilliant. And we were up against it. We were up against it. As good as we were in the second half, we were pegged back to 2-2. So twice we had to dig in and kind of demonstrate a characteristic that we maybe haven't had to this season. Although we've actually won 9 points from losing positions this season.
Oh, you stole my stat.
Oh, did I?
I saw it. Yeah, exactly. 9 points from losing positions, and we only Was it 4 or 5 last season in the whole of last season?
Four, yeah.
That's just the mentality, isn't it?
I'm surprised we've been behind that many times, because there was another stat doing the rounds. The amount of minutes we've been behind in a game. We've not, apart from obviously losing the game against United, we hit back really quickly.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it 6 minutes?
I can't remember, something like that. Yeah, it wasn't long. And that's, again, it's that thing. It's like even little things like giving the ball away in the middle of a game. It's like you don't mind the likes of Partey and Odegaard playing risky passes, because if we lose the ball, we know everyone is going to go full throttle to try and win that ball back. And that's why we were able to basically camp in their half. More touches in the opposition box than any other team ever. 63 or something like that. Crazy. Just so dominant.
And they were just missing one player.
Yeah.
Casemiro. You know, we were missing Jesus.
Well, I'd argue they were missing 10 players.
But what was interesting, as a Man United mate of mine, and he agreed with the substitution. He agreed that Fred needed to come on. And I said, funny, because in the ground, the feeling was very much, well, that's a negative. And that just handed the impetus to us completely.
Even more than we already had. Yeah, absolutely.
And I watched that second half again. I have to say, look, Odegaard was brilliant, and Xhaka was brilliant, and Saka was brilliant, and Eddie was brilliant. But there was one player who was just like, I'm like, he is so good. Like, technically so good. Aggressive. No.
Gabriel.
No.
Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, everywhere's been raving about. I mean, I've watched Match of the Day too, just our section and the analysis about 4 times already. And you know, just Zinchenko's quality is just peerless at the minute.
Because he doesn't. I don't know where it comes from, because he doesn't like. I never saw this at Man City, but then I wasn't really paying much attention to them.
No.
How did we get him for 30 million quid or whatever it was?
Because I think he was probably Well, it's interesting. I was listening to something earlier where they were talking about the Lewis player that's come through at City.
Yeah.
And they reckon that actually both clubs have come out of it well, because Arsenal needed a player of Zinchenko's quality now, and City needed a player of Lewis's quality for the future. And Lewis has, found that space in the squad vacated by Zinchenko. Now, no one could have foreseen that Zinchenko would raise our bar so high, but he really has. It's just incredible.
And his aggression in the air, winning headers against Spurs players a lot taller than him last week, and same again. I mean,
the thing that gets me that I've noticed with him, because it's a bit flippant and probably a bit spoiled of me to say that, I've come to expect good ball control, good passing, from Premier League footballers for the last, 10, 15, 20 years. But for him, his speed of thought, his anticipation, his ability to sniff out danger, to know when a play. I don't know what the interception stats are, but when I think about how pathetic I was at football, I could just never anticipate anything. I was always reacting to what had just happened, which meant I was already too late in everything that I did, because I was just a bloody mere mortal running around. Whereas it's almost like he's a chess player seeing 2 moves ahead, and he's just in front of the opposition player to sweep up the ball and then set off another attack. It's just
that's his defense. His vision is impressive as well. The pass for our first goal, I think he did. He do it? Did he pass it into Jack? No.
He didn't. He was part of the move. Him, Odegaard,
twice.
Were working that left-hand side from a corner, I think, weren't they? And
there was one pass he did, and it was like, okay, it's a very short pass, but it wasn't one that I saw. Like, it was like, how did he it wasn't the obvious one, but
No.
it was like maybe the penultimate assist.
Yeah.
I think. Who played it to Xhaka?
Odegaard's the same as well. Either Odegaard or Zinchenko. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, Odegaard. I mean, I love him. I loved him last year. I've loved him long time. He's I don't have a favourite player, but I did, like I said last year, that he was the one player in that team last season that would fit into the Wenger invincible team.
Two things then. Colleague at work, he said to me today that, albeit he clarified it, on current form, Odegaard could be the league's best player. On current form, probably the best player in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
who's better than him?
Don't know. But
De Bruyne and Haaland are the obvious choices. I mean, the two favourites for player of the season are Haaland and Haaland will probably get it because of his goal, the sheer number of goals is just ridiculous.
He's already, if it was last season, he'd already be top scorer.
That's
just nuts. Absolutely.
4 hat-tricks.
Which is why 15 wins on the bounce is perfectly.
I was listening to 5 Live on the way home in the car, and some bloke, and I don't like Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton. I'm not like whatever. I just prefer 5 Live to TalkSport. But there was a caller. I'm not even sure what club he supported, and it was a brilliant point he made. And they kind of were quiet because Chris Sutton wanted to engage with him, but Robbie Savage was just being his usual.
A Robbie Savage.
Yeah. And it was not since 2013 or 14 has the Golden Boot winner won the league.
Really?
Isn't that fascinating? You're going to look that up now, aren't you?
No, well, it's just my phone's beeping at me. That's all.
Oh, so
no, I hadn't thought that.
Yeah. So it's the
was Salah not top scorer when Liverpool won the league?
Don't know. This guy had obviously research. He read a book. He named, I can't remember it now, but he named a book about from Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan's coach wrote a book, and it was, if the game was won, Michael Jordan was instructed by his coach to put his sorry, I just got an alert saying, is it you trying to recover your account? Oh, Gmail, that might well be. It does say Potter's Bar.
Have we got a live Google hack going on?
I don't know, I might do, but I need to, I don't know, I can't pause this. And is Jenny trying to do something? I don't know. Do I say yes, it's me or not?
No,
I'm not. I'm not going to.
No.
So that if the game was won, Michael Jordan was instructed to deliberately place his teammates in difficult positions with unexpected passes, just to keep them to see how they'd react. So that if the game was when they were playing a tight game, a difficult game, a difficult opponent, that the others were more prepared to raise their game. And so, because it's a team sport, not an individual sport.
Yeah.
And so that's the argument for Haaland, is that counterintuitively, perhaps, he's made that team worse.
Right.
But because everything has to go through him, and if he's not, I mean, he doesn't get involved in the game much.
No. He's a proper goal hanger. There's that theory, I think I've mentioned it before on here, about the strong link, weak link game, where basketball is a strong link game. You're as good as your best player,
right?
Because they can handle the ball and be involved in the play like almost constantly, because it's just engineered that way. Whereas football is a weak link game, in that you're only ever as good as your weakest player. Because if you have an area of the pitch that, where the quality drops off, other teams can exploit that. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Man City, on the face of it, easily have, you know, the best squad and lots of the best players in the league, but it's all so much crafted in Guardiola's kind of total football, albeit a 21st century version of it, that Haaland, as a stoic kind of solid centre forward, albeit an unbelievably athletic one, does kind of funnel the play so much that actually, again, listening to someone talk about some of their recent poor results, where almost like they've the rest of the team have adapted almost too quickly to Haaland, in that if things aren't going well for them, they kind of just sit back and wait for it to happen because they assume he will make something. But he's not a player that makes something. He'll finish what you serve him up, no problem.
Yeah.
But you still got to serve it up. And when they were playing, you know, almost without a striker last year, with versatile players like Jesus and Zinchenko, ironically, teams didn't know how to defend that. And Thomas Frank, the Brentford manager, which is interesting considering we've got to play Man City twice, he said when they beat them at the Etihad, he said, we only worried about Haaland so much. What was more important was to stop the ball getting to him.
Yeah, De Bruyne.
You've got to cut the supply off. Because if that's all they're trying to do is get the ball to him, just stop the ball getting to him.
Yeah.
Like, obviously that sounds so much simpler than it actually is.
But
it's an interesting one.
But we have the cohesion and athleticism to do that.
The way we've been winning the ball.
The bloke who runs zonal marking, or who
Michael Cox.
Yes, him. That's a nice little thread out today about the way we set up without the ball compared to how Man United set up without the ball, and that's where the game was won and lost.
Okay. Is that Zinchenko kind of roaming in?
Yeah. Well, it was the fact that Marcus Rashford didn't have any defensive responsibilities at all, and he highlighted quite a few scenarios which led to chances or the goals where he should have been in the picture, but he just wasn't. So it's quite interesting. We were kind of impressed by Rashford, but actually, from a management perspective, managerial perspective, he probably didn't have a great game.
Which is why you wonder, you know, Weghorst came in and, okay, he was a slight nuisance, but really had very little impact on the game. You do wonder why they don't go with Rashford as a central striker who can, you know, move to either wing.
I mean, Martial is their kind of recognised central striker, and he's injured, I guess. Anthony was like a non-entity playing. He was
there.
Yeah, he was, but he didn't do anything. Someone or Tim, I think Tim Stillman did a nice thread on Martinelli. I hadn't thought about it because Martinelli's been getting a little bit of stick, and I use that in inverted commas. And the reason is he's always just one-on-one. He doesn't have an overlapping fullback because Zinchenko cuts in. So there's nobody to create that little bit of space. So it's all on him. And Tim Stillman was saying that, you know, there is a little bit of tax to pay for the, because down the right-hand side, we were lethal down the right-hand side with Saka and Ben White. And Tomiyasu actually had a much better second half than I realised as well.
Right.
That first few minutes to get up to the pace of the game aside, he was, Rashford was non-existent second half. So you kind of got to say job done. And it was Tomiyasu who was leading the press on the right-hand side in the last 10 minutes as well. So, so Martinelli has it's just him. And he doesn't have that because Xhaka's not going to do the overlapping run. He will interlink with triangles.
Has done,
he has, but not like Tierney would, or not like Ben White would on the other side. Saka gets the ball and he's got Ben White running outside him a lot of the time when he's not doing it himself.
Which draws the attention of the defenders or the covering midfielder and gives Saka that bit more room to and different options.
Exactly. Yes.
So we talk about Saka's goal.
Oh, a thing of beauty, wasn't it? I'd rather talk about his celebration because I thought it was hilarious.
Yes, I mean, considering him and Rashford are obviously England teammates.
They're mates. They're busy mates.
I thought that was very interesting that he did that. And someone pointed out that Eddie Nketiah did the Harry Kane celebration at Oxford.
Oh, did he?
You know the whole
yeah.
Eddie Nketiah did it against Oxford. So I wonder if there's something where we're kind of aping and copying other teams' celebrations as a bit of
to wind them up.
But
the Rashford one, when the Rashford one, he just ran. But Rashford ran to the corner flag. Like, what are you doing? Celebrate with your teammates.
Yeah.
But don't well out of your.
What I'm surprised about that is that we don't give Rashford any stick.
No, not at all.
He's got no reason to wind us up. So it seemed like an odd thing.
It did, and I think that's why Saka did it. He made a mental note of it, and same corner. I think a better goal. I think that was a harder. That was a harder finish. Harder to score from that position was a lot more difficult than from where. Although Rashford's goal was brilliant. I mean, that was it was never. You couldn't get a glove on that. No. It was a brilliant shot, and a nutmeg at Partey just before as well was a bit. Nice, but. Yeah, so I said checking Spurs still winning.
Are they? They're going to win. It's fine. We can deal with that.
What does that put us?
Well, we've got a 7-point gap at the top.
7? 5?
5? Is it 5?
Yeah, 5 points with the game in hand.
Oh my god!
And I think we play before City, so we away at Everton.
We're the early kickoff on Saturday against Everton.
Yeah.
Everton with a new manager.
Of course.
Sean Dyche, if rumours are to be believed.
No, really.
Yeah. And the other name is Bielsa.
Bielsa.
I mean, that is chalk and cheese right there.
But I'd like it to be Sean Dyche because...
See, I think I'd like it to be Bielsa.
But the Everton fans, I'm thinking of that one game, the Everton fans will be completely uninspired by Sean Dyche as manager.
Yeah.
Duncan, my worry is that nobody will be manager and Duncan Ferguson will have it for the day. That's my worry. And someone else on 5 Live said, bring Wayne Rooney back. Jesus, he could be he could tank it. But that first game, him as manager.
Against Arsenal?
Yeah, they're going to win. His first goal was against Arsenal. His first managerial win for Everton.
That would be terrible. I think Rooney's pretty much said that he's not going there. Not while they're a basket case. He wants something a little bit more secure. He's just had to deal with all the fallout of everything that happened at Derby after doing quite a good job given the circumstances. Yeah, so we shall see. But what a day. What a day. The atmosphere before the game was incredible. It had that big game vibe. The atmosphere during the game was excellent and only got better as it got more tense and it went back and forward.
And a last-minute winner. There's nothing better. I'm pretty sure, if my memory serves me right, that in Fever Pitch, Nick Hornby, he talks about a 3-2 comeback win is the best thing in football. It's like the best result, the best circumstances, because you've seen lots of goals, but you've also come back and you go away happy because you've had that win. So I do remember David Platt and Patrick Vieira scoring in a 3-2 win at Highbury against Man United as well. But Vieira had done his celebration slide and then was out for like 5 or 6 games, got himself injured. Speaking of injuries, the news today is Jesus. I looked at the fixture list. It will be Bournemouth at home on the 4th of March. Might be the... it's the 4th of March, but it's not been moved for TV yet. So...
When's Easter this year? Is it an early Easter, late Easter?
I did look. It's late. I don't know.
Because I would have assumed Jesus would be resurrected at Easter.
Oh gosh,
See, I've been full of it. I've been full of it for a whole day. It's just been brilliant at work. Winding people up. And I'm not normally one to give it the big.
No, don't. You listen, keep the humility.
I'm trying.
We are only halfway. I mean, it's Man City. It's Man City we're talking about.
It's never been this good. But even after the game, have you ever seen it? I mean, late on a Sunday evening, and everyone.
No, like 10 minutes after the game, after the final whistle.
No one had gone. If anything, I was a bit disappointed at how quickly they did their little lap of the pitch. It's bad, isn't it? It was just,
I was a little bit annoyed that they did their main celebration in front of the clock end. I don't want that to become a thing.
I feel like that kind of always tends to happen. I feel like it's always round to the North Bank and then into the tunnel.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But they went to the Ashburton Army as if they were the away fans, like it was an away game. I was like, oi, get down this end. This is the North Bank. And
I did love all the pictures of the other players celebrating off the bench.
Oh no, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, not just the subs. We're talking Jesus,
and
El Neni.
Yeah,
there's a spirit amongst this bunch. It's just
there's genuine, like Jesus. Here's one for you. Jesus is fit for Arsenal Everton game. This is for example, hypothetical. Does he start?
No,
he doesn't. Does he?
No, he doesn't. You don't change a winning side. And what an option off the bench. Imagine if it's like a tight 1-1, and then we go, okay, well, we'll throw on Trossard, we'll throw on Jesus, we'll throw on Smith Rowe. Deal with that. All of a sudden, our bench just looks.
It does, except I would like
so
to say
much better.
Throw on Mudryk. I would like to be saying that. Interesting enough, Arsblog mentions in his blog this morning. He said he mentioned something about it being used as a Russian pawn or something like that. I can't remember what it was. And I thought, it's.
There's definitely a geopolitical angle,
which is such a shame for him. Like, clearly not happy. You don't go. You don't. He must look at that game yesterday. He didn't tweet about it on Instagram. Tweet about it on Instagram. Well,
Rumors are. I mean, he's earning life-changing sums of money for himself.
Yeah.
And he's ensured that a whole chunk of money is going to the war effort to defend his homeland. I mean,
yeah,
I get it, but Chelsea are a bit of a basket case. But anyway, let's focus on who we've got. And we've got a young Polish defender.
We have.
I think that's been made official this evening, hasn't it?
It has, yeah. He said when he was handed his shirt number with his name on the back, he just started laughing. He couldn't believe it. Like, he's like, I'm pinching myself. Can you? Because there was you haven't seen. If you watch I don't know if it was on Matchday 2. I can't remember. The TV cameras honing on him in the stand with his girlfriend, I presume, and he must have been like, what would he have like that game? Like, would you be overawed by it? Thinking,
I think the nature of footballers, you just got to back yourself, haven't you?
Yes.
You will just back yourself. I don't know. And also the expectation is not there for him. He's someone for the future. He can deputize, where.
Well, he sounds like Phil. Is it someone called Phil Costa? I think he does features on Arsblog. He did quite a detailed breakdown on what kind of player this guy is, and he does sound just like Gabriel. He's not as he's not as but he's physical. He loves taking the ball from the keeper in that first press. He's technically very highly skilled. Has played in midfield before. Has played at left back before. Is 6'2". Is big. Physical as well. Very good. There was one area. It can be a bit rash in the tackle. Now,
we've said that about Gabriel.
Well, we have, but I still think Mustafi, when I hear, was a little bit rash in the tackle. And so you want more Gabriel than Mustafi. But again, he's 22. He's only played 18 months for in the Italian Serie A. His rise has been quite slow, and so he's, you know, he started that article by saying at 22, Giroud was playing in the 3rd division in France.
Yes, he was, yeah. And now he's France's
all-time record goal scorer. I mean, that's just like, so players develop at different rates. But yeah, he's a good squad player. We don't have a left-sided centre back now. We've got,
well, presumably he will essentially replace Mari, right?
Yes, yeah.
And he's taken Maitland-Niles' squad number.
15.
So Maitland-Niles will presumably.
I'm assuming he's out of contracts in the summer, is he?
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah.
And that Fresneda guy was supposed to be making a decision between us and Dortmund today.
Well, he'll get more game time at Dortmund.
The deal is to loan him back to the Spanish club for this season.
Valladolid.
Yeah, and I think the fees that we've agreed with Valladolid and so have Dortmund. So it's up to the player to choose between us and them.
Fair enough.
I think it's an odd one, but
yeah, future proofing, I suppose, again, isn't it? And Trossard made a good debut.
He did, yeah. He's got very quick feet, and he had a role in the goal as well. Like he put Zinchenko through down the left-hand side and kept
the ball well when we were trying to get it to the corner. Waste time.
Yeah, he's not the quickest.
No.
But someone said he's got a bit of the Cazorlas about him. Oh, well, we'll take that.
Oh God, yeah. And again, he must have been celebrating in that bundle, just going, "Is it like this all the time?"
Yes. Yeah.
What have I just come to? So, do you think, in terms of January movement, then, because obviously Mudryk was going to be the big marquee signing, and when that didn't happen, we've taken chunks of that, and we've gone for the here and now with Trossard. We've gone for the future with this Cuvier, or whatever his name is, for the Polish defender. We're still in for this Fresneda, the right back. Is it still about a central midfielder?
Yeah, I think, although I think we'll loan. I think a loan move for someone might, if
I've played that game and I can't come up with anyone. I can't come up with anyone who would come for a loan and know that they're probably not going to feature that much. Because when the stories came out about Camavinga, I immediately just knew that wasn't going to happen because he wants minutes, isn't getting it at Real Madrid, so he's not going to come to us and sit on the bench.
No.
So I literally don't know who's out there. And all the others, the likes of, Tielemans, he's free in the summer.
I think the Tielemans one, like, would we get Tielemans and Rice?
Well, that's the problem. Now that they've also talked up the idea of Rice in the summer, it means you're not going to do anything in the January unless it is a loan.
Yeah.
But I just don't know who that would be. Yeah. And could we also do with maybe just one more little striker?
Yeah, or certainly source of goals. But again, you've got the same problem.
Who's going to come and play?
Trossard is perfect because I think he understands that he's not such a big name. I mean, picking up the top scorer for the team lying in 6th for 20 million is not a bad deal.
Patrick at Anfield.
Yeah, big game player, yes, for sure. They all scored with his weaker foot, so he's a two-footed player. So, he's got. But I think he knows his place. He's on the bench. Yeah. I suppose the one player that he might have, whose nose he might knock out a joint a little bit, Trossard, is Smith Rowe, because Smith Rowe would have been the player coming on when Trossard came on. Yeah. Did we make another substitution? We did. Rob Holding came on then for.
We went for Holding.
Yes, but it's. I don't know. I still think. Well, we've got Balogun. Like, say this, like if he wasn't our player, there'd be loads of clubs sniffing around him out of the French league. He's always got 11 or 13 goals in 19 games. It's like pretty impressive for a mid-table team. And Patino tearing it up at Blackpool in midfield, and he's still so young. So it's a difficult one because, you know, Mudryk would have put Martinelli out of the team. So do you want to...
Or threaten to, yeah.
Yeah, do you want to, you know, what's the phrase? Rock the cart, rock the apple cart, was it?
Upset the apple cart or rock the boat.
Rock the boat, there you go. There you go. I prefer mine, rock the apple cart. So I don't know.
We shall see. It's still so long to go. We've got a whole nother week of the transfer market and then a whole nother, 5 months of the season?
28th of May. But when do you think we'll enjoy St. Totteringham's Day?
I thought you were going to say, when do you think we'll win the league?
No.
St. Totteringham's Day, I don't know. They're 3 points behind Man United in fourth. And it's...
Well, they're 14 points behind us and we've 2 games in hand on them. So that's 20 points. That's almost 7 games. There are 9. They've got 18 games left, 17 games left.
Would you be brave enough to call it now?
There will be a St. Totteringham's Day, yes.
You think St. Totteringham's Day is done?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's no way Spurs are finishing above us from that
What
position.
What about us in top 4?
Well, I think that's the same. I do. I mean, realistically, you're talking about Liverpool and Chelsea. Liverpool have played the same games as us, and they're on 29 points. So they're 21 points behind us.
Mo Salah has gone 2 games without having a shot on target.
Okay.
It's crazy.
But there's no way Liverpool are going to go on such a run and us go on such a bad run that there'd be a 21-point swing in 19 games. It's just too much.
So you think top 4 as well?
I think top 4's done, yeah.
St. Totteringham's Day's done?
Yeah.
Top 4's done?
Because then Chelsea are on 29 points as well, but they've played a game more.
Okay.
I mean, it would have to be it would be the capitulation to end all other capitulations.
Yeah.
For us not to finish top 4 from here.
And the one thing we've said is that it was the streaks of defeats last year that did us.
And they weren't even
a point away? A point away?
Yeah.
From Champions League football. So, yeah, as long as we put that to bed. And we need a bit of luck. You know, when everyone talks about us being lucky with injuries, well, we haven't really. What we mean is Partey hasn't been injured.
And Ødegaard hasn't been injured.
At the same time. You know, Jesus out of the team for a bit, fine. Eddie's stepped up, brilliant.
Well, Zinchenko's missed a lot of time.
Zinchenko has, Smith Rowe has, yeah.
You know, last season's second top scorer hasn't started a game.
Yeah.
So we have had injuries, but we've had injuries in places where we've actually had good cover.
Absorb it, yeah.
So like Gabriel would be another key one.
Massive.
But we've got this other guy now. Play him against Man City, definitely. Gabriel needs the rest.
Do you think?
He won't do it, but he should.
Where are you with the psychology of Friday's cup game against Man City? Because on the one hand, the FA Cup's probably not our priority. And I hate saying that because I bloody love the FA Cup. I think it's brilliant. But at the same time, there are players. We've easily started the most players consecutively.
Seven players have started every Premier League game.
It's ridiculously high level.
Those 7 players should not play.
Yeah, fine. But at the same time, we've got to play Man City twice in the league. And psychologically, if City beat us, but you know Guardiola will go strong because he will want to beat us so that when we come to play them in the league, he can go, we did it once, we can do it again. But you've got to do it again.
I don't think he'll play De Bruyne and Haaland.
Do you know?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've got no idea.
Because don't forget, Guardiola's got another iron in the fire. That's Champions League.
Champions League.
When does that start?
His white elephant in. Is it white elephant? I'm mixing my metaphors now. I was going to say white elephant in the room, but that's not.
It's the elephant in the room.
Or someone's white elephant. You know, the rare
the money
that they're chasing. Yeah. Is that a phrase?
White elephant. Yeah, because the Millennium Dome was described as a white elephant, like I think. Not visually, although maybe it was.
Turns out there is a Bruce Willis film called White Elephant from just last year.
There you go. Straight to TV.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know. I'm going to say White Elephant phrase. But yeah, he's got to go for the Champions League. It's the one thing Man City...
When is that? While you're on your phone, check out when the Champions League resumes.
Okay.
And who City have.
A possession that its owner cannot dispose of. Well, that's not a white elephant, is it? That's not the Champions League for them. It's their...
Talk about the elephant. It's the elephant in the room.
It's the elephant in the room, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Right. Champions League fixtures. Stay signed out. More standings. I don't know standings. Matches. Something went wrong. I don't know. It's normally mid February, isn't it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because we play them on the. It's not obviously not the half term week, because we play them on the 15th. But who have they got before us? We're home to Brentford. And who the hell are they playing? They're not playing anyone the weekend before us. They're playing Spurs away on the 5th, which is 2 weeks' time. Then on the 11th, we're at home to Brentford. I can't see... Oh, Man City are home to Villa. Oh, Villa we're the only team who's accrued more points than Villa since Emery took over at Villa.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Man City's next game in the Champions League is the 22nd of February, so the midweek after we play them in the league.
And they're away to Forest between our game and that game.
Right.
And
it's all getting very big, isn't it? It's all getting very important. I love it.
Yeah, so I don't think he'll play De Bruyne, and I would play... Arteta will go strong. He went stronger against Oxford than I thought he would.
Mm.
And so he'll go strong against... we've got 8 days after the City game before we play again, so he'll very much have that in mind, I'm sure. But Ødegaard should not play.
No.
I wouldn't play Martinelli. I think Martinelli needs a rest. I think it's a great game for Smith Rowe and Trossard to start, Vieira to start. I mean, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, still a good team.
You know, and I think... Who did we lost to Brighton in the League Cup, didn't we?
We did.
And I agree with you. I couldn't care less about this Man City FA Cup match.
That's not what I said.
I do not care.
I said it's not our priority.
No, I don't.
I care about the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of kept us going over the last 20 years. But this is too
too important.
Yeah, going for what if we go strong and Ødegaard gets a season-ending...
I'm not saying play Ødegaard. I'm just saying
Gabriel,
it will be a shadow side, wasn't it? It will be as much of a second string as we can muster. I'm sure it will.
I think he'll go strong.
Do you think?
Yeah. I'll look at the team sheet and think, bugger it.
Yeah.
For the reasons you've already mapped out psychologically. You know?
Compete against them, see what you come out with.
Win it, take that momentum. That's brilliant.
Mm.
We don't want a defeat there to be the defining moment in the season.
No.
But then if you lose there with the second string team, so what? We lost to Brighton with the second string team.
Well, I was just looking up those teams, and it was something of a second string team. Saliba was the only guaranteed starter at the time, and Nketiah played, but obviously he wasn't a starter at that point. Trossard didn't play for Brighton.
Oh, can Trossard play? Can Trossard play?
What, in the FA Cup?
Yeah, he can, can't he? Because he wasn't in the squad. He was persona non grata at Brighton. So
I think we'll be all right on that front.
Yeah, Tierney should play at left back instead of Zinchenko. Tomiyasu should start the game instead of Ben White. I think Rob Holding and the new guy, he's not going to do that. We'd get absolutely, if we picked that team and then Haaland did play and De Bruyne did play, we'd be looking at double figures potentially. We don't want to replay.
God no.
Play them 4 times.
No, just go for it. Are there there replays in the next round, and then after that there aren't any? I think.
Is that right?
I think so. Yeah, there's definitely not replays after a certain point.
Just straight to penalties. Is it extra time and then penalties?
Yeah. No, do you know what? I don't know. I don't even know. But yeah.
Right. Cool. Not quite 30 minutes, but
what a day yesterday! What an atmosphere! What is happening? What is going on?
Yeah, I just hope the same, and this is what I'm learning to trust this team now a little bit more. It is in normal circumstances, I'd be worried about a level of performance dropping for the Everton game, but I'm not sure it will. I think there's too much drive and focus in this team. I think they got hurt last year. A lot of the games, I was saying to someone, I don't know who it was, I can't remember. A lot of the games are about revenge.
Yes.
And Everton, we lost. I think they'd 1 win in 15 matches last season, and we were that in the middle.
And if I remember rightly, it was an awful performance.
It was, but also it was an awful refereeing performance. It was when Tomiyasu got stamped on the face and no red card in the first half at 0-0, so it would have made a difference. But yes, it was an awful performance. So there's that goes to laid to rest. The Man United beat us, the only team to beat us this season, laid to rest. Spurs away last season, laid to rest. So I think that's. Yeah, Man City. Then there's Man City. Well, there's the biggest injustice of last season was losing that game, which is where I think this team was born. I think this team, that connection, that was the day, that was the game. Ironically, a defeat, but I think it was the day with the team believed. I think that they could compete with the very best, and just lack of bodies cost us in the end, injuries, and that was quite late as well. So with 19 games to go, injuries could well, and Man City's squad is far better equipped to deal with injuries than ours. Maybe apart from De Bruyne, because nobody can do what De Bruyne does really. But
God, 50 points first half of the season. We repeat that. That's 100 points. That's mental. I just can't believe it.
We'd definitely be winning the league at that rate.
God, you'd like to think so. I'd even be confident of top 4, I think. But look at our record. We've gone away to Chelsea. We've beaten Spurs home and away. We lost away at United, but we avenged that at home.
Yeah, winning one, that is better than 2 draws. Winning one and losing one is better than 2 draws. Yeah. We beat Liverpool at home. We've got to go to Anfield, we've got to go to Newcastle, we've got to go to Man City, and we've got to host Man City. They're the big ones. We've got to host Chelsea as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Mudryk, yeah. I wonder what reception he'll get.
I wonder what reception he'll give us. He'll probably be taking selfies with the crowd.
He must look, privately, he must have looked at yesterday's game or probably not even watched it. and thought, "Oh, to be part of that."
But if it's a funny one, isn't it? Because for all the basket case behaviour around Chelsea, if they get everyone fit and available, all of a sudden, a front line of Ziyech, Havertz,
well, he's not even going to be there,
and Pulisic turns into Mudryk, Felix, and I don't even know who the other one would be. But yeah, I mean, there's enough players there to make some semblance of a team, you would think.
Chelsea, I'm assuming, have to play Man City again as well.
Yeah. It's all go. Man City have got tough games. They've got to do it, and they've already shown that they're not the flawless. I mean, I'm saying all this, and we all know what kind of run they can go on. They've done this so many times before, where they have a little bit of a stutter, maybe just in the run up to Christmas or whatever, and then they just hit a flow. Musicians talk about flow when they just.
I think Liverpool won like 15 games of their last 16 last season and didn't win the league.
Because City bettered it.
But I guarantee you, if we win the next 15 games, we'll have won the league. Because two of those would have been against Man United or Man City, and that's it. Right, 56 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah,
right, are you going to City? You're not going to City, are you?
I'm not going to City because it's Friday night. I'm going to meet up with a pal, go for a drink. And then Everton, I'm not doing Everton away because, it's a lunchtime kickoff and no one can be bothered with that. So I'll see you at Brentford.
Yeah, good one. We owe them as well, don't we, for that first game last season? No, we've done that one already. Damn it.
Keep winning.
Yes. Right. Okay. Have a good one.
See you later.
We are
top of the league. Top of the league.